Today is June 14th, 2025. The bike is packed, the camping gear is loaded, and the pre-ride check is done. I'm ready to head out. And that's when the rain started. Today's meandering took me 244 miles, from New York City to Hagerstown, Maryland. My route out of the city hugged the southern tip of the island. I passed landmarks like the Staten Island Ferry, Battery Park, and Bowling Green. Turning right onto West Street, I rode by the 9/11 Memorial and the World Trade Center Tower rising through the mist. And I worked my way up the West Side Highway to Canal Street and dove into the Holland Tunnel. This is Rhythm and Rides 25, a 5-video series chronicling my trip from New York City to the BMW Motorcycle Owners of America rally in Lebanon, Tennessee. "10 days, 2,066 miles, and everything from twisty mountain roads in an Appalachian rainstorm to long, sweltering hot interstate slogs. It's about the ride, the roads, the people, and the adventures I find along the way. If you like exploring the world on two wheels, or even just dreaming about it, take a second to like and subscribe. I love making and sharing these trips, and your support really helps me keep going. Emerging from the tunnel into New Jersey, I rolled down the Pulaski Skyway, past Newark Airport, and I picked up I-78 West. The familiar stretches of suburban New Jersey started unfolding. The Watchung Mountains, Bernardsville, my hometown, and points west. I rode through the Delaware Water Gap, fog curling off the ridges and the river winding through the valley, crossing the Delaware River and into Pennsylvania, and more landmarks ticked by. There's Dorney Park, the giant Cabela's outdoor outfitter, Reading, and Hershey, the chocolate factory, and Hershey Park, the amusement park. I passed the Pennsylvania State Capitol in Harrisburg and thought about the ride I did in mid-October of 2009. I was heading east from Carlisle to New Jersey, and a freak snowstorm rolled in. I rode through the wet, slushy roads with almost no visibility. In my recent Miles Shared interview with Ken Hollis, linked in the description, he told me there are 2 secrets to riding a motorcycle in the snow. Unfortunately, no one knows what they are. Fortunately, there was no snow today. Around here is also where I had planned to get off the highway and ride some amazing Butler-rated roads near Gettysburg for a few hours, and camp for the night in my new tent. But the weather helped me rethink that plan. Instead, I stayed on the highway and just kept going to get some miles behind me. Across the Mason-Dixon line, the historical line between North and South, and into Maryland. It's not marked with a neon sign or anything, but riding in this area, and at this time, where the wounds of division still sometimes feel fresh, you notice it. Today the line is about marking progress. Miles covered, states crossed, my ride just beginning. I pulled into my hotel in Hagerstown, Maryland for the night. If you've been following my Grand Detour series about my cross-country trip last year, Hagerstown might sound familiar. Same hotel, same soaking wet arrival. It seems to be a tradition now for my first night on the road. Day 2 started with a lucky mistake. I rode for a while and stopped for gas, and took what I thought was the road back to the highway. But instead, I ended up heading south into West Virginia, just below Hancock, Maryland. The detour led me onto Route 9, through Berkeley Springs. The road twisted through the hills, climbing past the quirky Berkeley Springs Castle, a private stone mansion built in the 1800s that looks like something out of a European fairy tale. The morning fog clung to the trees, painting the landscape a deep, dark green. Sure, a sunny day would have offered bigger views, but I was riding someplace new, and that's always enough. West through Paw Paw, and then back on the interstate in Cumberland. Break in the clouds brought sun, and and sweeping highway views. And I pushed south on Interstate 79. Riding in this part of the country is mostly new to me. I had ridden a little of it with my brother Eric last November. We headed north from Elkins to visit Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. That video is still on my to-do list, but I can definitely recommend the stop. For this trip, I was excited to head south into West Virginia and explore the unfamiliar curves. I turned east on Route 33 toward Elkins, and after a while, the rain returned. A steady drizzle followed me all the way into town. I checked into my hotel, hung my gear to dry, and walked to dinner at CJ Maggie's, a local spot I'd eaten at with Eric last fall. The food's still really good, but the ice cream's amazing, and it was the perfect end to a wet and winding day. That's it for days 1 and 2 of Rhythm and Rides 25. From the wet streets of Manhattan to the winding backroads of West Virginia, it's already shaping up to be a memorable ride. Next up, on day 3, into the Monongahela National Forest, over Cranberry Mountain to Hawk's Nest, and then riding the Talon. There's a ton of twisties, and you won't want to miss it. And if you're curious what it's like to ride the Talon from end to end, I've got a special Miles in Silence video just for that stretch. I'll link to it here and in the description. Thanks for watching. Until the next ride, be safe, be curious, and keep meandering.